We never realize the impact of an action unless it involves us. People all over the world face issues with human development versus environmental consequences. One aspect of this issue into play is evident with the debate of the Dakota Pipeline.
A major controversial topic happening in the nation today is the debate between whether the Native Americans of the Sioux tribe or the government is in the right to create an underground pipeline to transport much of the country's oil. As there are many perspectives regarding this topic, we must look at this situation on a larger scale.
Okay, the global distribution of water is a very important aspect to consider when talking about this controversy. Freshwater resources are unevenly distributed, and most of this water is located far from human population. Many of the world's largest river basins run through thinly populated regions. Groundwater represents about 90% of the world's available freshwater resources, and around 1.5 billion depend on groundwater for their drinking water. If the pipeline were to be built underground, there are chances that potential leaks could cause the groundwater to be polluted. Another important aspect to consider is the economy and how it would be affected if the pipeline were built. If the pipeline was built, about 7.4 billion barrels of undiscovered oil is believed to be in the U.S. After the pipeline is completed, it would transport 470,000 barrels of crude oil a day. That's enough to make 374.3 million gallons of gasoline. The pipeline would bring around $156 million in sales and income taxes to the state and local governments. The developed states would also get construction jobs to the people in the areas nearby. It would also decrease the U.S. reliance on foreign oil. The pipeline would also help free up railways to transport crops and other goods that are currently transporting crude oil. However, the Standing Rock Sioux tribe believes that it would cause economic harm to their tribe and the land area. They believe that the construction of the pipeline will destroy their burial sites, prayer sites, and culturally significant artifacts.
In regards to the pipeline, the risks can be applied to policies. Richard Kuprovics of Acufacts Incorporation, a consulting firm, advised government agencies as well as industries about the pipelines and found that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers actually failed to address pipeline safety. And then the risks associated with the pipeline posed to the waters of Lake Oahe as well as a standing Sioux tribe, as this is the lake they drew their drinking water from. It was a major threat. Their policies from their report didn't address if there was an oil spill, then there would be an issue, as well as it demonstrated the risks of an oil spill into the area was very underestimated. The risks posed by the landslides as well were very underestimated. There was also a lack of proper safety constructions to contain spills, as well as a failure to review the impact to citizens in the environment downstream of the site. A risk review of the industry spills and contaminations at similar sites document that this was a problem that was oversighted with the industry in regards to the North Dakota pipeline. On the other side, rather than businesses, we see the effect it would have on the Native Americans. To them, it was a risk of their land. The pipeline would go through Lake Oahe, which is where the Native Americans would also draw their water from. There could be possible leakages with oil from this pipe if somehow the porous or permeable oil seeps through the pipe in the water. All the chemicals would be now in the water underground. The Dakota Access Pipeline would carry 450,000 barrels of dirty oil per day to Illinois to cut through fragile wildlife habitat, environmentally sensitive, and this would also worsen the situation. The pipe would also cut through the Missouri River, and this would threaten the drinking water for Native Americans overall. If there was one major problem besides that, is the risk of an oil spill. It would also impact in Standing Rock, an estimated 17 million people located downstream from the river. Finally, you see land disturbances for the Native Americans. It was a risk to the native lands. The tribe argues that the pipeline would run through the stretch of the land north of the reservation, and here is where the Native Americans have sacred sites and burial places. True, this land isn't part of the current reservations, but the Standing Rock tribe, Sioux, argues that the land had been taken away from them just unjustly over the past 150 years. They saw it as a threat in regards to religious and sacred land. In regards to geology of oil, petroleum geology is a principal concern with the evaluation of 7 key elements. It refers to the source, reservoir, seal, trap, timing, maturation, and migration. Oil deposits are found in the sedimentary rocks, and then we would see these oil deposits going from underground. Such rocks formed affect the surface, as well as the sediment layers dried. Chemicals from the water formed rock natural sediments to bind sediment grains into hard rock. Pools of oil are found in underground traps where the sedimentary rock has been folded or faulted. The host sedimentary reservoir rock is still porous enough for the oil to accumulate in spaces between the sediment grains. Oil hasn't formed in the reservoir rock yet, but can be generated in source rock and migrated through the sedimentary rock. The pipeline is also known as the Bacon Oil Pipeline, named for the oil-rich area in North Dakota. An estimated 7.4 billion of barrels of undiscovered oil is believed to be in the U.S. portion of the Bacon Formation. This leads to the issue in regards to petroleum geology. The reservoirs, in this case applicable to the pipe, are a porous and permeable unit or set of units that hold the hydrocarbon reserves. This would further impact the flow of water and everything else depending on the situation of the pipe in relation to the geology of oil.
As said before, this will benefit the government substantially, allowing for as much as 470,000 barrels of oil to be pumped from North Dakota to Illinois on a daily basis. This will also allow for a system that can transport oil in a shorter amount of time, saving companies money by shipping and exporting our oil across the United States just by this pipeline. But with this comes some negative environmental problems, such as some major water sources could potentially be polluted if this pipeline ever burst. If this pipeline ever burst, it would mainly hurt the Sioux tribe, especially because they have one water source, which is a local lake. Such a contamination could lead to harmful things to surrounding animals, crops, and potable water for people to drink. Not only is this environmental situation a major problem, but according to the Army, it is still a go until just recently a letter was just released stating that they are further doing an investigation and will submit an environmental statement on the issue to the public.
Now that you've heard all the sides to this argument, it's time to broaden your view. Tweet hashtag I stand with pipeline or hashtag I stand with Sioux. Each tweet can change the world. It's time to educate others by letting them see the various perspectives of this issue, whether it be the people or the pipe. It's time to unite.